The night he returned from war, the silence inside his small, broken house was louder than any battlefield he had ever survived, and in that crushing quiet, he realized the hardest fight of his life was only just beginning. Before the story unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of human connection, take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them most. The bus dropped him off at the edge of the neighborhood just before dawn, when the sky was still heavy with darkness and the air carried a cold that seeped into his bones. Adam Carter stood alone on the cracked sidewalk, his worn duffel bag slung over one shoulder, staring at the row of aging houses that looked smaller than he remembered. 3 years of war had changed everything, including his sense of home. The houses were quieter now, the streets emptier, and the once lively corner shop was boarded up. His boots felt heavy as he walked toward the small, pale blue house at the end of the street, the place where his entire world waited inside. Every step stirred memories he had tried to bury, his wife's laughter, his son's tiny hands gripping his finger, the warmth of a life that once felt safe. Now, he was stepping back into it as a stranger, carrying scars no one could see. Inside, the house smelled faintly of dust and old wood. The furniture was exactly as he had left it, but it felt abandoned, frozen in time. The framed photos on the wall told a story of a man who used to smile easily, who believed in simple joys. Adam barely recognized that man anymore. He placed his bag down slowly, careful not to wake his sleeping son. In the small bedroom at the end of the hall, 6-year-old Noah lay curled under a faded blanket, his chest rising and falling in a soft rhythm. Adam stood in the doorway, fighting back tears. This tiny boy had grown without him. The child he had left behind as a toddler was now a small person with his own dreams, fears, and memories that did not include a father's steady presence. Life after war was not the relief he had imagined. The days were heavy, filled with restless nights and anxious mornings. Adam struggled to find work, and when he did, it was temporary and exhausting, barely enough to cover rent and food. His mind replayed fragments of war at the worst moments. The sudden noises made his heart race, and long silences reminded him of everything he had lost. Raising Noah alone felt overwhelming. He didn't know how to braid hair for school projects, how to help with reading homework, or how to explain why he sometimes woke up screaming in the middle of the night. Guilt followed him everywhere, whispering that he had failed as a husband and a father, that no amount of bravery in battle could fix what was broken at home. Their neighbor, Mrs. Evelyn Harper, lived in the small brick house next door. She was in her late 60s, with silver hair always neatly tied back and eyes that seemed to hold endless stories. She had lived in the neighborhood her entire life and had known Adam since he was a boy riding his bicycle up and down the street. During the war, she had occasionally checked in on Noah while he stayed with distant relatives, bringing homemade meals and small toys to brighten his lonely days. Now that Adam had returned, she watched quietly from her porch, sensing the storm brewing inside him. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Adam sat alone on his front steps, staring at the fading sunlight. His shoulders slumped forward, and his hands trembled slightly as he tried to calm his racing thoughts. Mrs. Harper approached slowly, carrying 2 mugs of steaming tea. She sat beside him without saying a word at first, letting the quiet stretch between them. The air smelled of chamomile and damp earth, and for a moment, the world seemed to slow. Then she spoke, her voice gentle but firm, carrying the weight of lived experience. She said that sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is allow himself to be seen as broken, because that is where healing truly begins. That single sentence struck at him like a wave. He had spent years hiding his pain behind discipline and duty, convincing himself that strength meant silence. But in that moment, the walls he had built began to crack. Tears welled in his eyes, and he looked away, ashamed of his vulnerability. Yet Mrs. Harper simply rested her hand on his arm, reminding him that broken things can be mended, and mended things often become stronger than before. From that day forward, small changes began to unfold. Adam started opening up, first to Mrs. Harper, then slowly to others. He attended local support meetings for veterans, where he met men and women who shared similar battles. Hearing their stories made him feel less alone. He began therapy, learning how to face his memories instead of running from them. It was painful and exhausting, but each step forward felt like reclaiming a piece of himself. At home, his relationship with Noah began to transform. He made mistakes, plenty of them, but he kept trying. They cooked simple meals together, laughing at burnt pancakes and spilled milk. He read bedtime stories, even when his voice shook. On weekends, they walked to the nearby park, where Noah taught him how to swing again, reminding him how to feel weightless, even for just a moment. Slowly, trust grew between them, fragile but real. Money remained tight, and the future uncertain, but hope started to take root. Adam found steady work at a local repair shop, using the mechanical skills he had learned during his service. The owner, a kind man with a soft heart, gave him a chance. Understanding the struggles of returning soldiers, each paycheck brought a small sense of stability, and with it, renewed confidence. Yet, healing was not linear. Some nights, the memories returned with unbearable force, dragging Adam back into darkness. During one particularly difficult night, he woke in a panic, soaked in sweat, gasping for air. Noah, awakened by the noise, stood trembling in the doorway. Instead of turning away, Adam reached out, pulling his son into a tight embrace. They sat on the edge of the bed, breathing together until the storm passed. In that quiet, vulnerable moment, a deeper bond formed. A promise that they would face life's battles side by side. Mrs. Harper remained a steady presence, offering wisdom and warmth whenever it was needed. She shared stories of her late husband, who had also returned from war changed, and how love and patience had guided them through years of hardship. Her words reminded Adam that life after trauma could still hold beauty, that broken chapters did not define the entire story. As months turned into a year, the house that once felt hollow began to feel alive again. Laughter echoed through its rooms, and new memories slowly replaced the old shadows. Adam planted a small garden in the backyard, teaching Noah how to care for growing things. Each sprouting seed symbolized their journey of fragile beginnings, nurtured by hope and persistence. The true test came when Noah fell ill one winter, requiring a hospital stay. Fear gripped Adam, dredging up every loss he had ever known. Sitting beside his son's hospital bed, he realized how much he had to lose and how deeply he loved. That night, as snow fell softly outside the window, he whispered promises of protection and presence, vows he intended to keep. Noah recovered, and their gratitude for life grew stronger than ever. Word of Adam's resilience spread through the neighborhood. People who once kept their distance now offered kindness and meals, small jobs, simple gestures that reminded him of community. He began volunteering at the local veterans center, sharing his story to help others find their way back. Each person he helped healed a part of himself in return. Years later, on a warm summer evening, Adam and Noah sat on their porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Mrs. Harper joined them, her smile gentle, her eyes proud. The three of them shared quiet conversation, the kind that required no words. In that peaceful moment, Adam reflected on how one simple sentence had changed everything. It had opened a door he never knew existed, leading him toward forgiveness, connection, and hope. Life had not become perfect, but it had become meaningful. The scars of war remained, but they no longer defined him. He was a father, a neighbor, a friend, a man rebuilding himself day by day. And in the laughter of his son, he found the greatest reward of all. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who might need encouragement, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories of hope and transformation. Your support helps keep these stories alive and reaching those who need them most. Before we reach the end, we have a special request for you. Please comment the word hope below if you believe that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. As the night settled gently over the quiet street, Adam looked at the stars, feeling a peace he once thought impossible. He understood now that healing was not about erasing the past, but learning to live fully despite it. And in that understanding, he found freedom.